Shemai, GTA chums, I'm going to take you on a garage tour like no other garage tour before because this is my rally car garage tour. Now when I'm talking about rally cars, I'm talking about the World Rally Championship winners. That is proper performance rally cars, not just about cars that you're going to rally. I mean, that is a different thing altogether because GTA does have genuine rally cars in it, and I should cover all of them. One that I don't have, a bit of a spoiler here, is the one here, which is the Kuruma. This is based on the Mitsubishi Evo X. You can tell from the front end, it's the X model with that kind of upside down kind of face that it's got there. But this is the Evo, and it was a championship rally winner, just not this version. The X didn't win any drivers championships, so that's why it's not in, and it's not fast enough either, to be quite honest. So without further ado, I'm going to take you to the Rally Garage. That was a long introduction, wasn't it? So in this garage, going from the top, we're going to go roughly in age. So we start off the world of rally in the 70s and pretty much, well, late 70s, 60s, early 70s. And WRC winners, the first one to come up was really the Ford Escort. That was the big one, the big name in rally. And this is the Mark 1 Escort, a really mighty fine GTA car. It'll cost you 615 GTA grand, and it's called the Retinue Mark 1. And it's great. It's a great little car. It's not fast by any means, but it does handle quite nicely, easy to drive, and it's a classic. Good customization. You can make it look really nice. Good rally build. You can do just a general classic car build on it. But this. So what is the Ford Escort for people in the US? I don't know if you came across it, you probably do. But it replaced the Ford Anglia. What's that? That's a previous old car. But anyway, it was pretty much unbeatable. It got unbeatable rally success. Won loads of drivers' World Rally Championships, and that's because Somewise Spark threw a Lotus twin column engine in this to make it a right little beast. And it's rear-wheel drive, just like the GTA one. And not only that, in the early 70s, you had the wins of Finnish driving legend Hannu Mikkola, who was fast as a Rosacco, and that led to the development of the Escort Mexico. Now, the Escort Mexico had the superb 1.6 litre Kent engine, so car fans will know what I'm talking about there with the Kent engine. Had a 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds, which was fast back then. Top speed of 100 miles an hour. Drop a like and subscribe if you're into this kind of rally content. Don't do the opposite. If you're not interested, just don't watch the rest of the video. Give me a comment on what you want to see instead. Rally Sport. Further development brought the RS 1600 engine, right? The RS stands for Rally Sport. Everyone knows the RS 1600 engine, but even better, the RS 1800, which comes in further developments. So where did we go from here? Well, we go to the Tropos Rally. Now, this is on discount this week for about 300 or 400 grand. Ridiculous money. Super cheap. Just buy it because it's cheap, because it's excellent. It's a great car in GTA. It's rear-wheel drive. It's the first custom-built rally car. This was built purely for rallying and nothing else at all. They did sell some, because you have to have some homologization, which is where you basically build cars to sell to the public, which are not the same as the rally car. They have rubbisher engines in. They don't have the same performance. But the Stratos, this was game-changing. Just look at the shape of it. It's beautiful. Look at it. It's all streamlined. It's all built specifically for rally. You've got a rear-wheel drive car there, and it's actually got the Ferrari Dino 2.4 litre V6 in that. It's a beast, absolute beast. And the designer of it was actually Marcello Gandini, who designed the Lamborghini Miura and the Countach. But I imagine he used a bit of a wind tunnel in this, unlike the Countach. So don't let that put you off purchasing this car in real life. Came up with 270 to 320 HP with only 900 to 950 kilograms of weight. This was a super successful rally car. It did actually only win 3 championships, so WRC championships, 74, 75 and 76, and it won the Monte Carlo Rally in 75, 76 and 77. So that's how big it was. The only reason why they stopped it, well, actually it was a little bit twitchy, difficult for drivers to drive, so there were crashes, there was transmission failures, and that's the only reason why these things lost rally stages at all, really. But I think the real reason was political, why they got rid of the thing, because it was replaced by the Fiat 131 Abarth. And this was kind of the stage where Fiat was, I suppose, thinking of barfing everything. Barf over this, barf over that. Christ on the bike, Fiat. Turn it in. The Fiat 131 barf wasn't as good, really. Let's face it. Some people say it was more reliable, but it is pedestrian. The barf was just basically an upgraded kind of street car, whereas this is a specific rally build, and you can't compare the two. But if they'd have kept it going, who knows how many more rallies it would have won. It's an essential if you're into rear-wheel drive rally cars, but then again, so is this. Yes, it looks like the first car. It is the Escort Mark 1, the Ford Escort Mark 1, also known as a Retinue in GTA. Sorry, Mark 1, did I meant Mark 2, Retinue Mark 2. So this has a different shape to it, and it is a whole different beast, because we came from the RS 1600 to the RS 1800 and 2000 in this, and the 1800 engine specifically was the real success story for this car in particular, because it won a thump load of rallies. The Cosworth engines really brought success. It was still only rear wheel drive as well. It was superb. I mean, this is a brilliant car as well in GTA. You can do good customization on it, not just rally builds. So this as well as the Mark 1, they're both excellent cars, but this one is actually faster in GTA, just like it was faster in real life. And it is actually competitive in its classic class as well, so you can actually race this thing. But yeah, speaking of the rallies, I mean, the Rally Championships culminated in the 1979 WRC Championship, right, where the top three cars in that year were RS 1800s. So that is how good it was. And it even won in 1981 despite the introduction of the four-wheel drive Audi Quattro. And let's bear in mind the Mark III came along after this, right? And it was front-wheel drive. How depressing is that? I mean, these are all based on real cars. They kind of just adjust cars in real life for these kind of rally machines, really. But the next car is, of course, the Audi Quattro. I mean, this is excellent. It's the Old Omnis. I mean, this car, actually, I should say about the Mark II, is a bit twerky for driving in GTA. It's a bit tricky at times, takes a bit of getting used to, but it is excellent. But this one is easy to drive because it's four-wheel drive. It's just so precise. It's brilliant accelerator as well. I've still not changed the wheels either from the standard because they look so good on this grey and ginger build. The Audi Quattro, the best one actually, was the S1E2, and that is what this is based on. You know it's an S1E2 because it's got the body kit on. You look at them chunky panels. It looks like it's got a short wheelbase, but it really hasn't got an immensely short wheelbase, or it shouldn't have. Actually, it looks similar to the Escort, but to me it should be a bit longer than that because this was not the equivalent to an Escort. The wheelbase of this car should be longer. So for GTA purposes, the handling is actually better for rallying because of the short wheelbase. But let's talk about the Audi Quattro. Now this came out in '85, this particular version, but they won rally championships in 1983 and 1984. The '84 one won by the legendary Swede Stig Blomqvist. He was an awesome driver, one of the best. Not the guy from the girl in the dragon tattoo. That's a completely different Blomqvist. That. And it had a 2.1 litre turbo, 493 HP engine at just over 1 ton. And the other thing it has as well, you've got that four-wheel drive. The reason they didn't introduce it before this point is because they said the extra weight is going to make it not competitive. However, they reduced the turbo lag on this, which meant that it could pick up after corners a lot quicker and smash it out. So that, although it's extra weight, it's got better acceleration, less turbo lag on this particular model. But the Mark II still beat it in that 1981. So, but yeah, excellent car. I think it's a must-have in GTA. I think these are all must-have cars. And speaking of must-haves, this could be one. I didn't say how much that car was, did I? The Obey Omnis is only 700 grand. Oh, actually, and I should say, it also is free with the Criminal Starter Pack. That's how I got this. Free. You've got to get it for free. It's excellent. I was driving this for years because it was brilliant. Brilliant car. The Obey Omnis is also brilliant, but for a different reason. Again, it's all-wheel drive. Now, so did I say the Vapid? This is the Vapid GB200. Sorry, cost 940 grand. So in GTA, super cheap. Look at the detailing on that engine, and the customization is excellent on this car. It is better than the Omnis actually. The Omnis does have some customization, pretty good liveries, but this has better. So this livery is the livery of the Ford livery. of the car that raced. Now this raced in the B class of rallies, and that means that it's a specific rally car. It's been what am I looking for? It's built basically as a rally car, not as a production car. The B cars in the B class. So these are the most insane cars in rally, and thanks to that, there was also a lot more accidents. So let's talk about this car. It was actually the Ford RS 200. Now you might not have heard of it. I don't remember it, to be quite, if I'm being honest. I remember the Audi Quattro because that was in the A-class rallies. These were the maniac cars, and this particular one. It was a 1.8 litre, so that'll be the RS 1800 there, 350 to 450 HP engine. How ridiculous is that compared to the previous one, but the previous Fords? So this is the reason they input this is because they went away from the Escort because they went down the front-wheel drive route, and as well, actually, they did have some Escort rally cars, but this was the real I-turner, the real one that was awesome. Although it didn't have a great deal of rally success, it did gain some notoriety. That's because it killed the most people of just about any rally car. Killed a phenomenal amount of people. Like in one accident, there were 3 spectators killed and I don't know, was it 30 injured? And in another accident, the co-driver was killed as well. For anybody, I should have explained what rally driving is as well. It's not just numptying around in the dirt. You have a pilot, the driver, and the co-pilot, the passenger that is going to give you the directions. So the co-pilot has a really important job. They know exactly where the driver's going. They say how hard the turn is and when the turn is coming up, how far distance-wise. So they're the spotter for the sniper that is the driver ultimately. And without them, you won't get anywhere near as good rally times because you need to have that train of thought out of your mind just to focus the amount of focus it needs to do rallying. If you want to just Google some rally stages in the WRC, and you'll see what I mean, and you'll see exactly how close the spectators are to the car. Now, I'll give you a graphic representation. About this far on the corner is where the spectators are, and often they will run across the car when it's on the approach as well. Ridiculous. I've seen that in videos. You'll see it in videos as well if you Google enough of them. And watch them. But it was a brilliant car, really, and I think it's a brilliant car in GTA. But the amount of kills and achieved in it meant that they just axed it basically. I think did it win a constructors championship. Let's have a wee look. Yeah, purpose-built rally car, heavily modified. Yeah, I mean, it didn't get enough success, I don't think. I mean, it might have won constructors, I'm not sure, but it didn't win any drivers' championships, and that's what we're talking about in wins in this video. And also, what I should say as well is that the B group is no longer in force anymore because they axed it, thanks to this car, and especially thanks to the Lancia Delta, which was an absolutely insane rally car. So the Lancia, that's where they came from. The original Lancia what the hell am I saying? The Lancia Stratos is what I want to say. It sounds like Strata. So they went from the Stratos to the R-Bar for 131, which the 131 was ridiculously rubbish. Some people say it was good, but then they went back to the Lancia, which was more of a custom-built rally car, more similar to that than to the 131. Anyway, that's Lancia. Let's go to the next car, shall we? And these are all essentials. Buy them all. Buy them all. That's my advice. We're going to the tuners class. So these are the Japanese cars now, because this is the point where the Japanese manufacturers properly entered the World Rally stage. So this is the Calico GTF, cost 1.5 to 2 million GTA dollars. This is based on a Toyota Celica GT4, obviously all-wheel drive. They all are pretty much now until the end. So this had World Rally Championship wins in 92 and 93 in the ST185 version. This is the ST205, which won in 1994. And it also won the European Rally Championship in 96 as well. And that was a 2-litre engine at 250 bhp only. Um, but it's not the power, it's what you do with it at the end of the day. That's what all the ladies say anyway. So this brought innovation to rally as well. Not only did it win championships, it brought innovation in the form of the ALS, which is the anti-lag system. So this meant that the turbo, like you get turbo lag. I'm not going to explain how a turbo works, but it stopped the lag from pressing the accelerator down to the actual turbo kicking in, which meant that the turbo was harder on all a lot more frequently, which brought a lot more wear and tear on the engine. But luckily, with factory teams, they can afford that kind of wear and tear. But if you're a personal driver, it might be expensive. So why amateurs might not want to race these kind of cars, but they still do anyway. They just spend a hell of a lot more money on their cars. Yeah, but that is the reason for the growly sounds that bring the backfiring, and that's what really sets this as a great car in GTA as well, because I think they got the sound bob on pretty much as far as an ALS sound, similarly with the next car, but not quite as good, I don't think. And it set the scene for the Fast and Furious cars. Without the Japanese scene setting up with rally and these performance cars, you wouldn't even have the Fast and the Furious. Not the Tokyo Drift, that's for sure, because they wouldn't have got amongst them like they did. And thank bejesus that they did do that. Now, as a car in GTA, I mean, yeah, it's all right, but it has a significant amount of understeer. So for that reason, it is an overrated car. But I do like it. I like driving it. It just takes a lot more patience to learn how to drive it to get consistent wins on racetracks, as a rally car and in GTA tuners class races. The next car is the car that changed rally for everybody, I think, in my generation, that is. Yeah, you know what this is. You know what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the Lancia Evo that's parked outside. I am, of course, talking about the Impreza, the Subaru Impreza, and specifically for GTA. This is the GC8 555 build. You know it's the GC8 because it's 4 doors, and you look at the shape to it as well. It's as near as you're going to get. Some people say it's like the Evo, but the Evo, it doesn't look at that like that at the rear. I really don't think it has a lot from the Evo, to be quite honest. You can't really call it an Evo at all. I think it's ridiculous to call this an Evo at all. I'm not even going to say 70/30. No, it's an Impreza. Look at the livery. I've chosen the 555 livery. Now the 555 is what started it all off. 555 is a cigarette firm who sponsored the team at the time. And this yellow and blue, now they've not got 555, but they've got carrying on. And these are the colours that you would expect with this car. And it had the gold rims as well, but these aren't quite right because they went gold right up to the edge. They didn't have that silver outline. So the other rims are probably better on the other Impreza. But this is actually in GTA the $1 million Sultan RS. This is not the RS Classic because it's got 4 doors. But you'd be forgiven for mistaking it for the RS Classic because it's right here, and they look the same really. But the doors, it's obvious with the doors, right? But they're highly similar once you put the same livery on, and it's got the same livery, the same customization on both cars. It's been a really lazy update with Rockstar on that, and I'm surprised more YouTubers didn't pick up on that, myself included. I did not pick up on that because I owned this, but I didn't customize it. It was just sat in storage for years and years. I didn't really do anything with it. But it's an amazing car. Why is it an amazing car, right? This was the Impreza. It really brought the Japanese, Japanese. Well, actually, they both brought these all brought the Japanese teams into rallying, but they also made it cool and who made it cool? It was Colin McRae in 1995 with his WRC championship win, where he took the victory in this very car. Not a GTA car, the one it represents, of course it is. And ever since then, they have been winning on and off. They've been trading places. Well, no, not ever since then. There's been a time period between 95 and 2003, so a good period of time. They were winning with the Evo, trading with championship victories ultimately. After that, unfortunately, it became these rally championships have been won by people called Sebastian mainly, who drove small cars such as the Polo, Yaris, and the Fiesta. Now, what did this bring to the table? It brought a symmetrical all-wheel drive system. That was the game changer for them that brought them those rally successes. However, it was mainly the 4-door ones which won, which is why it's in the rally colours. The 2-door one, now this is the This is the tuners class one. Did not get anything other than, I think it had constructors victories. So you had with the World Rally Championship, you have the drivers championship overall victor and the constructor. So the constructor is the one that wins the most titles based on the car type, such as Mitsubishi Evo, etc. So this one wasn't as successful. This was based rather than the GC8555, it was based on the what was it? Oh Christ, I've written it down somewhere. The WRC, the GD, I think it was a GD. It was a GD WRC. Jesus, where's it gone? There it is. 2000, no, WRC 1997. So WRC 97. And the reason why I say that is because if you Google it, it's based on the Impreza 22B STI two-door, which was in turn based on the rally car. But I think it's more like the rally car, to be quite honest, with the performance. So I don't think it is that ST2B STI. I think that's just what YouTubers put on the videos to pretend they know anything, myself included. I just, a lot of it I use Google, some of it is experience, and with this one, I Dr. Google, but I remember the cars as well. So with this, the commercial variety, there was only 424 made, and only 24 of those were exported to other countries other than Japan, obviously, and they're worth about 400 grand now. That's dollars, that is as well, $400,000. So the WRC 97 to 2000s were the two-door ones, which is the tuners class one here. But both of them, they are excellent cars. They sound exactly the same. They perform exactly the same, if I'm honest. Decimals of second, lap times. That's very, very close. I know Bruffy 13222 has, I think he has the tuners class one in the lead. No, he has the non-tuners class one in the lead, and I have the tuners class one in the lead. But they're so close. I think it's driver error within the grips of driver error. But actually, I think there is a difference in the handling between the two, having driven them really close to each other. But yeah, excellent cars, recommended obviously. And this is actually the tuners one. This is a Sultan RS Classic. Try and get it right. And this is the best tuners class car on average for winning races. So on average, it's the best car, and I find it the most successful for myself for winning races, and a lot of people. Part of the big three, though, it's one of the three that you want to buy to win tuners class races. Anyway, that's enough about that. Oh yeah, that one cost 1.8 million, the tuners class one. So 800 grand more, ridiculous, nearly twice the price. What have we got next then? We've had enough Fords, but we got space for one more Ford. This is the 1.6 million Vapid Flash GT. Oh, it's 1 million this week, 'cause it's on discount, Mo Freakers. It's based on a Focus RS WRC. Now, this is the one that won a few constructors' championships, but it's never won a drivers' championship. That is depressing, is it not? And this was in force. This was rallying between 1999 and 2010. It is obviously all-wheel drive. These are all all-wheel drive. That one's not. Um, Jesus, I showed you the next car. All-wheel drive cars, right? And it was an excellent little car, to be quite honest. It was competitive, but it got replaced by the Fiesta RS WRC. Now, people will say this is the Fiesta RS WRC, but it isn't, because you can tell that by the size of it. It's about the same, similar in size to the Impreza and to the Coleco there, and those are a similar sized car to the Ford Focus, whereas the Fiesta is tiny in comparison. They look the same, they're identical in styling. The way Ford does it, they style the cars to make them look similar so people don't get disappointed by buying a car that looks different. Who'd want a different car after all? But the Fiesta won 2017, 18 and 19 WRC Drivers' Championships. So that is a great car. You can pretend it is a Fiesta. It looks the same. So to all intents and purposes, you can pretend it is one. You can role play it that way. And the reason why it's here as well is because it's a brilliant car to drive. It is so accurate at, driving. You can corner. It corners. It spins on a pin. It's brilliant. It is amazing. Although it is four-wheel drive, it is actually rear-wheel. It's rear-wheel biased because it's really heavy on the rear wheels, almost like it drives like a two-wheel drive car. That is why it's in here, because it's excellent. And we have finally we have the Cherubek. And why is this in? It didn't win any WRC titles, but this is the amateur's car of choice if you wanted to go out rallying yourself. It's rear-wheel drive for a start. It is mechanically sound. These were really reliable cars. It's based on the Lada Riva, which was the VAZ 2101, but that in turn was based on the Fiat 124. Now, this was not a commercial success for the Fiat for some reason. It was actually a family sports car, if that makes sense. Yeah, put your kids in, kill them when you're on the way to work or whatever, dropping off at school. Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, it's probably because it's square, which gives it that really original look. I think it looks great, but these people slag them off like nobody's business when I was at school because they were known for being rubbish, cheap, and for people who couldn't afford a proper car, but they were highly reliable. And when at the end of the Cold War, Russians bought these cars back, right, and they took them back over the iron wall that had fallen down because they wanted them for spares or repairs or to drive them for themselves because they were that reliable, that good, especially for people in rural locations, dirt tracks, as in rally tracks ultimately, worse than rally tracks these things are driving down, reliably. So for that reason, it's an essential rally car, and people did rally it as an amateur, and I had to put an amateur in here. And it only costs 145,000 grand in GTA. It's the cheapest car here and the best. This was my first rally car that I purchased in this game, and for good reason. It is excellent. It's pretty nippy as well. It's pretty good, easy to drive. It's excellent. So if I'm going to recommend a car to you today, for value, I would recommend this car, the Cherubek, for value, right? If I'm going to recommend a car to race, it's very difficult because these are all mainly sports class. For racing in the classics, it's got to be sports classic. It's got to be the Mark II, definitely. But if you want to race in tuners class, obviously it's the RS Classic. But if I just want to buy a car out of what is my favourite car to drive, for driving, not for swanning around, for driving, then it's got to be this little matey, the Vapid Flash GT, which happens to be on discount this week. Excellent. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this. This is a brilliant car. You've got to purchase it. It's $1 million. Yeah, expensive. If you've got your submarine, you know what I'm talking about, for Cayo Perico, then you can just do one Cayo Perico, purchase this, you'll have money left over to buy whatever the freak you want. But it's an awesome car, super awesome, buy it. My video will be out anyway, saying exactly the same thing and telling you to watch this rally video. I need to change these wheels to put rally wheels on as well. Customization wise, not great with regards to what you can put on it, but it has loads of liveries which will excite and frivolize you for 100% guaranteed time. Anyway, if you found that useful, do what you do. Give me a like, give me a comment on what you think of this video and the history of it. Has it been interesting? Has it been useful? Overall, thank you very much for watching. Have a most excellent day if you are playing today. Das GTA, longest video ever. Do it.